Show. Always Irish Show. Always Irish Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to there's just a lot going on, man. There's just a lot going on in the world of college football, and it has been rather frustrating to watch. There's a lot of high-end drama that we're just not involved in. And that's frustrating with these title games and the playoff and all that. And there's just all that smoke and all that drama that we weren't a part of. And then you have all of our problems insulated from it. And so you just have a little bit of everything. You got the Sun Bowl. Isn't it going to be cold? Before I even get to the introduction, can I ask that it's the Sun Bowl? Didn't we play in this with Kelly when he wore them cowboy boots and it was cold and everybody was miserable? Sun Bowl, the winter sun when it's still 20 degrees. So you got the Sun Bowl. You have all the drama with the CFP and did Florida State get screwed and what's the best thing to do? But all the games being played about where Notre Dame ended up in the bowl game, what was up with all that, took all day to figure out. And then we get to the wide receiver coach. And the second that was announced, and I knew a little bit about the guy, I knew what angle this was going to be. I knew what the angle was going to be. And there's some nuance to talk about there. But right away when that hire was announced, I was like, oh, I know the narrative on this one. And it ain't going to go over well. So nothing's easy, man. Nothing's easy right now. So let's get into it. Phones are going to be open, 312-988-15. Let me know what you think about any of this. Notre Dame situation, trying to dig themselves out of the practical and or perceptual or both issues that they're having. The Sun Bowl looks like a favorable matchup to me compared to some of the other ones as far as just looking at the bodies you're going against. What do you make of that? Getting to that 10 win, is that going to change anything? Any of your mood make you feel any better about stuff? Yeah, these are just odd times in Notre Dame land. I saw a bunch of chats before I got started. That line, right? Brandon, good to see you, man, down in A-Town. I'm not used to that, Brandon. You used to be my South Bend guy. Now you're an Atlanta guy. It's throwing me off. There's just a lot here, and a lot of it ain't great. Let's get into it. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on. That way you alerted every time something iffy in Notre Dame land happens and you want to hear somebody yell about it. You know where to go. You ever laugh just because you're out of everything else? You're done being mad. You're not going to cry. What do? You just laugh at your own situation. Twitter, search bar Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. Call-in lines. You already know them. 312-900-8815. You call, tell Johnny all the stuff you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Fighting Irish Wire. You can read all about it. If you don't want to look at my face, I don't blame you. Go read my thoughts instead. No face involved. Do yourself a favor. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. Former captain, leading tackler, key point. Okay. And myself, talking about Notre Dame every day. Had a big week on Patreon last week, dropping a little news, get a little juice going. Thank you to everybody that joined in the last week. Feel free to jump on board. Link in the description. Also, let's not forget our fine lead sponsor of the show, NDSubwayAlumni.com. Get yourself a looski, get yourself a t-shirt, buy stuff for your loved ones for Christmas. Here's the thing. I love that there's a website dedicated just to honoring Notre Dame Subway alums. Notre Dame football would not be the brand it is without these loyal people. This group wanted to honor that. Lou Holtz himself is involved with the Looski. Get yourself one of those. Oh, all right. Here's what we're going to do first. First things first is, I know there's a couple people that want to hop on the lines, but that have lives and other stuff to do. So we'll do the super chats, and then I'll bring up a call or two, let them go on with their day, and then I'll get into my stuff here. We'll switch it up a little bit. Rodney, you're going to be first up. $2 holler, no tigers to slay. Let's go beaver hunting. Well, yeah, let me know how your weekend was, Rodney. $10 holler. $10 holler from V1 Rotate. Honda McCord to ND. Dude, nobody, bro, in case you missed it, Kyle McCord into the portal. Nobody likes Ryan Day. All right? Nobody likes Ryan Day, apparently. Honda McCord to ND, JK. Cereal Bowl, here we come. I think the committee left out FSU because they didn't want to listen to the band and the fans and that stupid chant every time they gain 1 yard of offense. V1, you're in my mind. Listen, bro, tell me if I'm wrong. I swear to God, every 2 seconds during that Florida State Louisville game, they're playing that stupid song. Every day, I had to mute the TV, ruin the experience. Did they put the speaker for the TV broadcast in a trumpet? Every 2 seconds, every time, learn a new song. Mix it up a little bit. Jesus, you ever go to a bar and they got a DJ and they just play the same song for 3 hours in a row? God almighty, I'm not kidding. I'm going, am I the crazy one here? Are they playing this stupid song on repeat? Way to kill a vibe, way to kill a party, way to kill a dance floor. That's how I look at it. Who would play the same one song every single minute? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it. Find a new song. I get that that's your main thing. Mix this shit up. Throw something else in there. I literally had to mute it because I swear they had the microphone in a tuba or something the whole night. Keep them out of the playoffs just for doing that. Shit. Awful. Get a new song. Mix it up. Unbelievable. All night. And all the dumb Florida State, well, the band's doing, I got to do, they just, all night, your arm's going to fall off. Your arm's going to break off. I'm glad you brought this up, V1 Rotate. First rant of the week, and it's only 9:10. We're off to the races this week. Son of a bitch, get a different song all night. Unbelievable. I'm off the rails already. Jesus. 10 minutes is all it took. Let me gather myself. I'm starting to sweat. God dang. It's just rough. All right. All right. I'm going to let my blood pressure simmer. Let's see what Rodney thinks. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I got thrown off big time here. I got thrown off. $5 holler for Brendan. Why are you lives anyways when I'm at the station? Bro, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Rodney, good morning, man. Sorry I made you wait through that.
Sorry. That was entertaining.
Yeah, well,
I needed that.
I'm sorry, man.
I needed that.
It was all night. Every single play. I couldn't be the only one that noticed it. It made me mute the game. I couldn't handle it. I swear they put the speaker in a tuba or something. It was right there. I couldn't handle it.
I know, but they kind of got what they deserve because that happens, and then the big letdown in the room. It's like, there you go. That's what happens.
Dude, it was just.
I honestly think I'm not even kidding. I think you might have made a very valid point. It just might be subconsciously.
Dude,
you're thinking, you have those nuances within your brain that are like, okay, why, you don't admit it to yourself, but that may have just been one of the reasons they were let out.
Dude,
I kid you not.
I just, anyways, that's the least of my big concern worries, but I do admit that it bothered me during that game. Rodney, I don't know where you want to take it. We have relevant Notre Dame news, so I don't know if you want to talk about the bowl situation. I don't know if you have an opinion on the new wide receiver guy. I see a lot of the initial reaction from the fan base. And I wherever you want to go with it, there's a few different angles here. I'll let you go wherever you want to go, buddy.
All right. Well, let's start with the. I didn't want to hear any more transfer news, so I kind of tuned out that kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess Flores is gone. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're right. You're right. Do we have any intel on what the rumors are or why these guys are leaving? I mean, we're not going to get them back. Fine, whatever. But
I'm hearing that this one, I'm hearing that one was not expected. There were some ongoing issues with some of the other situations that were being navigated. This one, I've heard from a couple people, kind of surprised folks. So I don't know if it was like, everybody's jumping off ship, I better jump off ship, or like I don't have inside scoop on that one specifically. But
what do we have, like 2.5 wide receivers now for the game or something?
It's no big deal. You just go to the lacrosse field and you grab what you need and you give them a helmet and we go from there. I know it's kind of rough. And then, but Rodney, that leads me into the bowl game. It looks like a very favorable matchup for Notre Dame. It's not a matchup that's going to excite anybody. It ain't going to move the needle. It isn't going to, it's just not. But I got to admit, if you're looking to get your 10th win, this has got to be a favorable matchup in a game you got to win. That's my initial thought on it. They don't even have a coach.
Well, because,
Give me a break.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with that subject, Johnny. That's a good one. That's the one I kind of did some research on after it was announced. Oregon State will be without their starting quarterback.
Yep.
And there was one other major player too. Is it a running back? They're starting running back too, or something like that. So that's pretty big. So I guess, all things being equal.
And again, wait, I want to make sure everybody remembers. I mean, I don't know how close people follow this, but remember their coach just left last week to go to Michigan
and their head coach. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Coach.
So
right.
so you went from It's a very winnable game. And to the point where I think the pressure's all on Notre Dame to win it. You can't lose to this team no matter what when they have all you got problems and you're in transition. They don't even have a conference anymore. Like, you think you got problems. They got real problems. You got to win that game, get your 10 wins, and we keep it moving. But there's no excuse not to win this game now. It's a very favorable matchup. And if it isn't, oh man, it's going to be a long off season.
Yeah, I think it's a favorable matchup, but it's also a good matchup. I went through Oregon State's schedule and all that. I think people kind of forgot about them because they got beat real bad by Oregon, but they took Washington to the end. They beat UCLA. They what was the other team? Utah.
But the thing is, but Rodney, here's where I think about that.
I know they don't have their head coach on their quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with. Is the dynamic now is not anywhere near what it was then when you had your coach and things are going okay, and you think that you're situated, and now everything's in flux. Who's coming? Who's going? Who's our coach? Da 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 da. If you ain't winning this one, if you ain't beating up the Beaver on this one, I don't know what to tell you. I know you got to beat the Beaver.
Oh man,
I'm serious. You cannot let that. You cannot let that Beav deceive. You got to go in there and hit it hard. Good morning.
I had a lonely weekend, John.
Yeah,
I had a lonely weekend.
It isn't going to get any better calling this show. I got news for you. All right. You come to the wrong place. I'm just telling you, man. Okay. Yeah, I'm just telling you. You got to get that Beav, man. You got to nail these guys.
You got to get the Beav.
You got to nail these guys.
Leave it to Beaver.
Telling you, man.
Anyway.
I'm telling you. You got to get it. You got to get it.
Get the 10th win. Seriously, man. That's the biggest thing for me right now. I think it builds a little momentum. I think there's something to be said for that. Again, I don't know. That's always a big deal for me, man. If a program can win 10 games, they can get those double digits.
Yeah.
There's just something about that, man. Last year really, really teed me off, man, that we didn't win that USC game because we wanted that 10th win. We really did. Going in, so after that, it was just, it was a good matchup in the Gator Bowl. It was a good game, quarterback left right after that. So, I don't know what you make of that. I mean, but, get the 10th win, figure out the wide receiver unit. Okay, yeah, let's go to the coach. I mean, I watched Blue and Gold yesterday, listen to the Singer talk about him. Sounds like people around that are in the know, because I knew nothing about him, seem to think that this is a really good hire. That's really all I know. I don't know anything else. I don't know what the chat room's saying. Yeah. I imagine, they're probably – this is just my initial gut reaction from where he came from. Without knowing anything about him. Oh, great. We get Wisconsin's wide receiver. Yeah, they really throw the ball out. They got a lot of great wide receivers.
But that's only one part of it. That's only one part of it.
Okay. What's the other part?
Here are the two responses that I saw on Twitter right away when the news broke that we had a new wide receiver coach. Number one was, it wasn't even what you brought up. Number one was, it seems like Freeman's defaulting to only hiring guys under his Cincinnati little circle. And that's where this guy overlapped with Marcus. So then you're saying, people are saying, is that good because you trust the guy, the guy, his work ethic, how he relates to the kids and whatever, and and trust him, and that gives Marcus comfort. But the other side is, are you only hiring guys because those are the only guys interested in working with you? Or are you not casting a wide enough net out of the comfort of wanting a guy those are the type of questions that come up. And then a philosophical one that I would have is, if you're finding guys that are all from the same roots of the same tree, are you getting a diversification of thought of like how to do an offense with new ideas coming in the room that are out of that tree branch cluster you all came from? Are you not going to get that when you hire a guy and have that history from that thinks like you do? I don't know the answer, but I know this, Rodney. The fans are in a bad mood. And right when the news broke, they said, one, he's just hiring his buddies, and I hate it. And number two is, who in the hell was interested in a wide receiver situation from Wisconsin? So that's the response. And I knew that would be the response. If it's going to work out, I don't know. people pointed out some guys he developed that went into the league, and there are people that like what he did. The fan sentiment, though, is so negative right now. It wasn't going to be met with much good attention. That's what I think.
Yeah,
That's what I saw.
To be honest, man, when times are like, listen, if every wide receiver was coming back and, I don't know, Stuckey left for, when it comes out, maybe it won't ever, I don't know. I know there's been so many conflicting reports why he left, why he didn't, I don't know. But this would be a different conversation. I don't think people would care as much. Or, they would just, okay, we got another coach in, great. But it's just because of the big mass exodus. And then, the fact that, to me, it's important the fact that, it's Wisconsin, it's Luke Fickell. But here's the thing. And this is what, there's a lot of coaches on Notre Dame staff. I think about half of them are outside of Freeman's comfort zone, to some degree. They were taken from other places. They were already part of the Kelly regime, whatever. So he hasn't just gone straight into the Cincinnati coaching tree. Having said that, you could do a whole lot worse than go into Cincinnati's coaching tree. Look what they've done when Freeman was there and when Fickell was there, man. They got into the playoffs, and they aren't that talented, and yet they still got into the playoffs. That was a program for about 10 years, John, that was getting teams consistently in the top 15 and sometimes top 10, and then, of course, in that year, top 4. And that's kind of the mark of a coach, right? When you can take talent that is, average talent, slightly better than average talent, and you can get them to compete with big boys of college football. Keep in mind, they beat us a few years ago. That. So I don't look – if that coaching tree was coming from freaking Iowa, with their, bulldozer of an offense that, nobody can stop.
Here's the problem.
That'd be a little bit different. But the fact, I don't mind that as much.
The problem,
Fickell hasn't really had a chance to change that program at Wisconsin to be, because at Cincinnati, it was a little more balanced. It was a balanced attack. He hasn't been there long enough to see if that's what Wisconsin is going to become. Anyway, I'm willing to let this thing play out. I'm not going to sit there and I've heard good things about him. It sounds like he's a good coach, and I'll leave it at that. I mean, it kind of rubs me the same way when they got Rudolph. There was good intel on Rudolph when he came in, and so far I got to say I don't think he's as good as he can. But and I keep forgetting the guy's name that was there under Kelly those 2 years, and he did not perform well on the line. What was his name? His old offensive coordinator at all his schools he came up with. The guy that was the coach right before Heastand and right after Heastand, then right before Heastand came back. What was his name?
Jeff Quinn.
Yeah, Jeff Quinn. I'm sorry. I cannot for life remember him. Anyway, to me, he's been better than Quinn and probably not quite as good as Heastand, but we'll see. We'll see. So I'm not willing to give this guy a shot. It sounds like he's a decent coach from everything I've heard.
Yeah.
And so whatever. Now, if you want to move from that to the bowl matchups, I will say Rees did some pretty good things, man, those last few games. The last few, I thought, again, man, I'm not trying to say, I told you guys all along. Rees had some issues. I always was a fan of him, though. I never thought he was the best offensive coordinator, but I thought maybe he could be one day. Like, I just feel like he's learning the same way Freeman's learning on the job now. I felt like Rees was getting better and better and better, still making some mistakes, but I would give anything to have him back coaching our offense right now.
Is he gonna bring Jalen Milroe with him? Is he gonna bring me Isaiah Bond? Like, I need some of those guys.
Right. Well, good point, John.
I'm just saying. Listen, he's doing a great job.
But our room's a lot more talented now, John. Our room is a lot more talented now than it was then. So it's interesting.
All I'm saying is really good job by Tommy Rees. Right job, right job.
And by the way, we should be rooting for him.
Yeah, right job, right guy, right job, right opportunity in the big spotlight, learning under the guy that's seen it all more than anybody else and won more than anybody. Really good timing for Rees. And he might get to be the hero that brings down Michigan, and I am fully in his corner. I want them to win that game.
Absolutely. There is a Notre Dame angle to this.
There is
a Notre Dame angle to this.
I've been saying all weekend, maybe Tommy could do what James Skanklin, the loser, couldn't do, and Ryan Bourne on third base can't even take a 1-foot lead towards home could do. Take down Michigan, Tommy.
I got to admit, man, I am looking forward to that game More than, well, I don't say. I'm going to be there watching the Notre
Did you
Dame game,
want Kelly,
obviously,
though? Did you want Kelly in the bowl game, or are you relieved in a way because we're
No,
in flux?
you know what, dude? That's interesting you brought that up. More I thought about it, I'm like, I'm kind of glad that they're not playing each other because, first of all, I don't know if it's been announced. I'm sure Daniels isn't playing, right? I mean, or if he is, okay, but with all the excess of our guys, it wouldn't be really the matchup we were looking for anyway. Because a lot of it was based on guys that were former players under Kelly. And then, and again, with his, if we beat him without Daniels, it's like, okay, big deal. If we lose, then we feel terrible because you lost to our former coach.
Yeah.
I think for both programs, for both coaches, it was the right move to not play each other. I really do. I think that would not have been good for either of them.
The other thing is, if you are going to have that matchup and it be the first one between Freeman, Notre Dame, LSU, Kelly, I just kind of wanted it to be with more on the line and more juice. Both programs feeling good, running their mouths, all of that. And you're not going to have that this year. So maybe
a Sugar Bowl matchup or something like that where they both went to the near six. That would have been all on board.
I don't know. And then the other thing is because Florida State had a rough situation yesterday with the committee, my understanding is that is what threw off all of that bowl slating with the ACC. And the reason we had to wait around 20 hours to figure out which game we're in is because
I thought it was going to be I thought we were going to the because they were talking about the Holiday Bowl and then the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which would have been at least a good location, Orlando, Florida.
Well,
and now it's like the Sun Bowl, which is fine.
I was going to go. I was going to go to that if it was in Orlando because I'm going to be at my brother's and it's less than a 2-hour drive because we're going to be there for Christmas week anyways. We were just going to drive up and go if it was 2 hours away, but I ain't going to Texas. Forget that.
You know what, though, John? You just brought up a point. But again, this could be something discussed later. But, we were talking all off season, before the season started. Hey, we should do a road, live thing, event, something, for one of the road games. That'd be it's a low key matchup. It's not the worst matchup Notre Dame's had in the last decade. They've had a couple teams that were, it's fine.
There ain't no juice.
I don't think any of these games are what they used to be.
There ain't no juice, Rodney. They're going to be about 200 people at this game. There's no juice. You just got to go in there and win your 10th game. Win your 10th game.
Bring along the Always Irish Caravan, man. Let's do something live. Let's do something live somewhere.
I'm going to be by the pool and I'll report on it from warm Florida.
Okay.
I'm not. It's just it isn't.
You actually are going to go to Orlando anyway. I got it.
I'm going to be in Florida at my brother's no matter what. It was just a matter of do we want to drive to Orlando and so that's out. But I get your 10th win and then move on. That's all you could do. But if this looks
get the 10th win, and that's an improvement in the program. And we'll see how the game plays out. Obviously now, but looks like Hartman's going to play, and it's one more game. It's a top 20 matchup. That part I'll say, and then there'll be a lot to talk about in the off season. One last question, John, before we go here, is the gut feeling around, around your circle that Parker's definitely being retained as the offensive coordinator?
I think it would be extremely unlikely we get through the bowl situation and that changes. I would not expect that. And if it was going to happen, I don't think you would already have another wide receiver guy because you might want to give that new OC a chance to bring
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
In the back of my brain, and I've been asking Goolsby, are you sure there's not something where we do a 2 for 1 year later, but we have to get through the bowl game with somebody coaching on offense? And he's like,
someone's already knows they're coming. Right. It's already been discussed. Parker understands it, but the one's talking because they're classy, right? That could happen.
So I think that if it was going to be a double, you wouldn't already have that wide receiver guy because the new guy might want to hire his own guy. So anyways, I don't know what you do, man. You got to get this 10th win. It seems like favorable matchup. That's the best you could do. It isn't going to solve our problems. It isn't going to make us all feel like everything's perfect, but it's better than losing. Okay. It isn't going to move the needle.
Alabama
it isn't going to move the needle forward.
I don't care if it's by 1 point or 20, man. I just want to see Alabama and Tommy Rees take down Michigan because they just lived such a charmed season with all the crap that they've gone through.
Everything went perfect.
John, I'll leave you with this. The one thing that does really frustrate me, I know you thought about it, man. Hearing them talk about Harbaugh, and we're all in for Michigan and all this stuff, and it's like, that I hate to say it, man, but like with some of the stuff we're not seeing in the defensive side of the ball, but it's like we've talked about it before, man. We've, these programs that seem to have unity and they have a culture. And, I think that's what we've hired Freeman for and I'm not putting him down for that. He's still figuring it out. Obviously, the defensive side of the ball seems to have that. But, man, I just want to hear the Notre Dame players say that about their coach.
Yeah. Yeah, it's uncertain times. Uncertain times. We got to stabilize the ship here and get going. Rodney, good to talk to you.
Tommy. Tommy.
I guess.
Kick their ass.
Go Tommy on a Monday morning. Hey, good to talk to you, man. Go on a beaver hunt. I'll talk to you later in the week. Okay, see ya. Later, buddy. Oh man, I'm gonna have fun with that. It ain't I just listen. Is it wrong of me that I had my props? And if we were in the Pop-Tart Bowl, I was just going to act like I didn't realize we were live and just sit here and eat my Pop-Tart and then casually be like, anybody know what bowl game we're in? I'm sorry, I got to eat my breakfast. I had that all planned out. 224, you're coming up next. And I know you're going to have a lot to see. Let's do a couple of these chats first. And we'll go from there. Look at this from Pat. Does Rees having success show that ND was the problem, or does it show that Saban is the solution? Just like most things in Notre Dame land, there's probably nuance where the realities are somewhere in the middle. I mean, Saban obviously has everything under control. There's no power struggle dynamics, like it's ultimate stability with that emperor there that everybody respects and whatever. You have that. Then you also have the talent. So I don't know if you're crediting that to Saban as well or whatever. The talent. Tommy couldn't run what he runs. That you got a deer as a quarterback that could also throw bombs. That's the opposite of the way we play. So it's probably a blend of all of that. Mark with the $2 holler. New coach was also the passing coordinator with the OC. That's another thing I've seen mentioned. Is that maybe some of the retooling on the offensive side will include this new wide receiver coach getting the designation of passing game coordinator. And I don't believe that's something Notre Dame's had in definition. And it shows because they cannot pass the ball like a normal team does. They can't. They cannot. They can't. So it's a little bit of all that. Somebody says the running back got a DUI. Whose did? The Beavers? Man, rough stuff. Dr. John, the Sun Bowl? I think it's great. 224, Andrew. What's going on? Good morning, buddy.
Hey, what's up, John? How are you?
I'm good, man. There's just a lot of college football stuff going on. I just feel like we were more a part of the main good stuff. I don't know. There's a lot going on, and I feel like we're on the outskirts trying to get our shit together, looking in. It's like I'm in an awkward place. Does that feeling make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's sort of interesting, the bowl game we drew, but yeah, I agree. It kind of sucks that we're not even factored into any of this drama. So
yeah, it's frustrating. Where do you want to start? We have a few kind of big picture things here. You want to start with the bowl game, the wide receiver situation? Did Florida State get screwed? Whatever you want.
Let's start with Florida State. I think the college football playoff got it right. Like if the goal is to get the 4 best teams in there to have the best games, I think they got it right. But I promise you, they did not get it right for the right reasons. And that's what I was saying in the chat earlier. I think that this is proof that the SEC is king. I mean, do you think like for example, Don, if let's pretend Georgia's quarterback got injured. Then their backup came in and their offense looked like horrible, but they won, their final 2 games, 17-0 and 10-3 or something like that. Do you really think they're going to keep Georgia out of the playoff? I think absolutely not. And so I think that this just shows you the ACC has no teeth.
Yeah.
I think that played a major role in where Notre Dame ended up in terms of a bowl.
Yeah, I think that's why it took 4 hours. I think that's why we didn't know all day. But Andrew, I think when this happened, I went on YouTube and sought out some of the Florida State people that do what I do. And I don't watch Florida State. I just don't have a reason to. So it was kind of new to me to find their shows and the angles. Every single podcast group covering them said, man, this ACC leadership is weak. They get bullied around in these back rooms and nobody stood up. Like, we have a weak commissioner and they're not happy with him. And they think they have weak leadership. And every one of them said, get the hell out of the ACC. Get out of it. Figure out a way to get out of it. So that's where they're at in their mind.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the season, honestly, because FSU, North Carolina, Clemson, they've all made it pretty clear that they want to get out.
Yeah.
But I think that even some of the middle tier programs are starting to think like, what's going to happen with our future. And so I even read, now it was a Twitter account that's sort of shady, but he got a lot of stuff right when it came to USC, UCLA, and Texas and Oklahoma leaving. And so he was trying to claim that the Big 12 is trying to put together a plan to add some of those middle tier ACC teams. And if they could get enough of those middle tier ACC teams to vote, they can vote down that grant of rights issue that's keeping them all in the. And so I think that this could be the year that happens. Because if I'm Florida State, if I'm a Florida State fan, I am beside myself, because I think that, for God's sakes, the head of the playoff committee is a sitting athletic director for the ACC, and that guy couldn't lobby the other members to get your program in. I mean, what else?
Andrew,
you're a second tier.
Here's
conference.
the thing, man.
Yeah.
I totally understand it. It's like, what else could you ask them to do? They went undefeated in a Power 5, won the championship, and overcame a catastrophic injury to their best player that could have put him in the shitter, and they could have tanked and said it's all over. They did everything that you want, overcoming adversity, blah, blah. They did everything that all the college athletic stuff's supposed to be about. And yet they're still not getting rewarded. And so I understand their misery and frustration completely. Also, though, Andrew, if I asked you, who do you think Michigan would have preferred to play in their round 1 matchup? Florida State as currently constituted, or Saban in Alabama? Like, I get both parts of it. Nobody's telling me Florida State's better than Alabama. You're not telling me that. And nobody can tell me Michigan would have preferred to play Alabama over Florida State. So I get both sides of the argument. And we're going to 12, so this is the last time it's going to matter anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think that ultimately the right teams were picked. And everybody's going to probably be humble, because I think Alabama's going to win it all. That's just my personal opinion. I obviously Michigan's really good, but I watch a lot of Alabama football because they're on every week.
Are. Well, and I wanted to see Tommy. I wanted to see Tommy week to week. I watched to see what he was going to do with that offense. I wanted to see that. I want Tommy to be the hero, Andrew. I want him to do what Franklin and all these, and Day, none of these guys could do, and find a way to take down Michigan and end all this. I want it to happen now.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't hate Michigan as much as you, but I'd like to see some new blood, to be quite honest with you. And that's where my second point was going to be, if you don't mind. I think that starting with this bowl game, Marcus Freeman is officially on the clock at Notre Dame. Because now we're going into year 3. And I think that going into year 3, you've got to show some improvement. And so if he loses this bowl game, especially to a team that no longer has their head coach, no longer has a quarterback, you end up with the same record after you rolled the dice with Sam Hartman. I think that's really a negative way to go into year 3. And I think year 3 is a move. It's sort of like second or third round at the Masters. It's moving day. This year 3 is moving day. It's like, is your program going in the right direction or not? So I think he's really on the clock. And then the second thing why he's on the clock is I think that we'll look back on 2023 as a year of sort of a changing of the guard in terms of the great coaches in college football. Like for God, it seems almost like a decade. It's been like the same coaches and the same teams are really always competing for the same playoff positions. But like, look at this year. You got Sarkisian, who's been in the game a while, but he's finally made it to being an elite coach. You got Kalen DeBoer, who's one of the most creative coaches out there. In 2 years, look at the turnaround he did at University of Washington. You got Norvell at Florida State. You got Dan Lanning, even Mike Elko. And so you got coaches winning and doing stuff creatively different ways. And so I bring that up to say that, listen, we got behind Marcus Freeman, and I still think that he can do it. But if he isn't the guy, like if he fails next year, I think he could potentially be on the hot seat because there's going to be a new AD. And that guy's going to be looking around college football saying, hey, there's a lot of new, creative, good coaches out there. You know, why are we pigeonholing ourselves to Marcus Freeman? So I think it's a huge year for him. And I'd like your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying I have a hard time thinking the administration thinks anybody's on the hot seat if you're going 9-3 every year in football. Andrew, I'm telling you, that's perfectly fine to that group. That does not raise their blood pressure at all. 9-3, 10-2 to the admin at Notre Dame's just fine. It's not, that's fine for them. I'm telling you, that's how they are. They don't spend time under that dome in a meeting going, we're 9-3. That ain't good enough. How do we get better? They don't. 9-3 ain't bringing the heat from that group. From us, from the fans, maybe. But I'm telling you, 9-3 ain't going to move the needle for that group. If you're looking for internal heat, though, maybe the new AD has a different standard and he's going to inject some of that. But the 9-3, 10-2 is beautiful to that group. They love it. That's enough to keep the money coming in. It's not obviously bad enough. You have a big problem. That would be just fine to that group. And I know nobody wants to hear that. It's just, that's what I've realized. So.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that Freeman's going to get fired after year 3, but I think that all of a sudden heat and, could get on him. And I would just push back a little bit on you. What happens if they opening game probably on ABC primetime Texas A&M? What happens if they lose that game by 40 points? You don't tell me that Freeman's going to be feeling a little heat.
40 points.
I'm not saying that's going to happen.
Why are you doing this to my blood pressure this early? Losing by 40 points. Andrew, you're killing me.
That stuff,
Monday morning.
That stuff has happened.
Oh, man.
I'm not suggesting that is going to happen. What I'm saying is...
But wait, I wasn't even going to say 40. I wasn't going to say 40, but you just went to the next part. You took it to the extreme. But what I was going to say is, Andrew, what if you get into that game? It's a clean slate. We're all ready for a new year. And you play horrible offense and score like 10 points in that first game. That's dangerous, man. You're going to have, that is going to crank the heat because it's like, people want this offense to look a lot better. If you come out week 1 and it doesn't, it's going to get real ugly. And these phone lines, I'm afraid to know what they're going to be like. That is a tough way to start your clean slate in the new year.
Correct. Yeah. And 40 points is probably hyperbolic. I guess what I'm getting at is what if they get totally dominated, on a national thing. And then God forbid they drop, a game to, one of these loser teams on their schedule next year. You know what I mean? And don't say that we're above that because we did lose to Marshall one time at home. So
the other thing, though, Andrew, is
on him.
Let me ask this. This is a new age concern. Let me ask this. How do you process that win-loss record in your mind now that there's going to be an expanded net to get into the playoffs? Like if you lost week 1 to A&M, that does not sit the same way on Notre Dame's record that it did for both your and I whole life, because they could probably go 10-2 and be in the 12-team field. So that is there a recalibration of the frustration when that first big loss doesn't like cripple you the way it does Notre Dame a lot? Or is it going to bug you no matter what? Because with 2 losses, you're still in a playoff hunt technically. How does it change how Notre Dame fans are going to process these games?
I think, it's sort of a byproduct of the expanded playoff is I think it's going to be harder to make coaching hires. Because, think about this. Let's say you were targeting Kalen DeBoer or Dan Lanning or, somebody who was in playoff contention. You have to, sort of wait out until, we felt that way with Fickle. But, I think that it's, I think, sort of like how the NCAA tournament is protection for a lot of coaches in basketball. If you generally make the tournament every year, you generally keep your job. I think the expanded playoff is going to help out a lot of coaches. I think the one caveat to it, though, is maybe you could excuse Brian Kelly for getting his doors blown off by Trevor Lawrence, who's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and then some of those amazing Alabama teams. But if Notre Dame starts making the playoff and they get their doors blown off by not even top 5 teams, other teams that are supposedly right around their own rankings, I think then you could potentially get some heat on yourself because people are saying, geez, we're close, we're making the playoffs, but there's a missing ingredient here, and plus the money is going to be flowing like crazy with this 12-team playoff. So Notre Dame's never been hurt for money, but there's no excuse to not make a move. Buyouts now. I mean, geez, Elko just Jimbo Fisher just got bought out for $70 million. So it's $20 million is chump change now. So I just think that I think it just all depends. It's like the eye test, right, John? It's Florida State suffered from the eye test this year, and I think that Notre Dame is all going to be about eye test, because I agree with you. I don't think that they're going to plateau or plummet and go 6-6 or something like that. But they go 9-3 and they lose to Northern Illinois or something like that, like a horribly embarrassing loss or something, or even at Purdue. What if they lost at Purdue?
Yeah,
that'd be a totally embarrassing loss. And so I think that people would start to think hey, is this guy the right guy?
Yeah, it's man, there's just a lot of kind of instability, and there's an uncomfortable feeling of are we trending up? Are we trending down? Are we treading water? Where there's just an uncomfortable feeling. And I don't know, man, it's Freeman's job to straighten it all out and level the ship out here. I don't know, man. Anything else, Andrew? Thank you.
Yeah, I would just make one thing. I think that you'll see Notre Dame media be in full spin zone about this Mike Brown hire.
Oh yeah,
at wide receiver coaching, and I don't want to come off so overly negative, but it was so predictable that he was going to go out and make this hire, and so I just really worry that he's making these hires for the wrong reasons. I bet he's feeling whether it's pressure from the administration, I doubt it, but he's feeling his own internal pressure.
I think that's much more likely. I think that's much more likely.
Yeah, and so instead of going out and maybe getting the best guy for the job, he's just continuing to surround himself with cronies.
But do we know that? My thought. Do we know that maybe he tried to throw lines in the water and it just didn't work out, or guys, they have other situations. I just don't know enough about the background. However,
this
I do know.
Quick.
I do know though, when you do this and it's not going well, and people you don't have a lot of credibility on the offensive side of the ball with your decision making, and then you hire a guy that's from your tree, you're going to get questioned about that. I don't blame the fans for thinking that.
Yeah, it's a super quick hire, and I would just end on this that Fickle got a pretty big budget at University of Wisconsin. We don't look at Wisconsin as a major player, but with this new TV deal, Big Ten teams are flush with cash. How is it that Indiana was able to pay their coach $20 million to go away? Back in the day, $20 million was an insane amount of money. So yeah. The idea that if Fickle thought Mike Brown was also his assistant head coach and passing game coordinator. So if he really felt like Mike Brown was essential to his offense, I don't think it would be that easy to hire him away this quickly. So, yeah, that's what gives me a little bit of worries. Now, I have heard he's a good recruiter, although he hasn't done it very long at the highest level. I mean, he was at Cincinnati and 1 year at Wisconsin. So it's just like another guy who is not proven at the highest level, but I have heard he's a really good recruiter. So we'll see.
Be good. Yep, we'll see. And all you can do is what's done is done. You can have your worries and anxiety, and then you go, I just hope it works out better than the last one. There's not a damn thing else any of us could do. But I knew the second this was hired and looking at the guy's bio, I knew the narratives right away. One was the going to Wisconsin to get a passing game guy's automatically funny to most people. And then the history. It is what it is. The vibes are bad. And if the vibes are bad, let's just throw it out there. It's incumbent on Marcus to turn it around, level the ship, bail the water out, get this win, have a good portal season, add some talent, close good in the regular recruiting early signing day on the 20th, win the bowl game, and that is as positive as you could trend into this offseason. I don't know what else to tell you. There's no other answers here that are going to make me and you feel better. That's it.
Yeah, I just think that, and I'll leave on this, just 2 quick points. Monitor the hire for the weight coach.
It's a big deal. It's a big
like if it's another like Cincinnati guy, it's like, come on, this is getting ridiculous. And then, or if it's like, somebody from his Purdue days or whatever. And then I'll just end on, I thought Ryan Day, I wonder if Ryan Day pushed McCord out. And if he did, I salute Ryan Day, because I think Jim Harbaugh was in Ryan Day's head.
Yeah.
Ryan Day was trying to make Ohio State into Michigan, like try to be a tough, like smash mouth team. And I think that's ridiculous. Ohio State has more athletes than Michigan could ever want. If Ryan Day is doing what I think he's doing, he's going to go out and he's going to get a quarterback that is dynamic, maybe like a Dante Moore or something. And he's going to try to out athlete Michigan. So yeah. I'll end on that.
There you go. Hey, Andrew, thank you a lot. And also I owe you an email too, but thank you, man. You're involved in everything and I see you everywhere. I love it, man. Keep it going.
Well, thanks. Hey, appreciate it. Have a good one.
Have a good week. Can I ask why we have a Michigan guy in here running his mouth today? Like, what do I need to? I already yelled once when we were just starting the show. Now I got to do it again. Callers, hang with me. Let me see what this guy's saying. Always Irish, 45-14, cry harder. Blame Brian Kelly for that one, Seth. He had Notre Dame. He had that game in the loss column before the bus even rolled up. Y'all are chicken for not joining the Big Ten. Why don't you tell that to your own anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic, bigoted Fielding Yost is the reason we're not in the Big Ten. So if you want to cry about that, you have nothing but your own person's bigotry to blame for that. Okay? So it's always funny. Open a history book and see the way Fielding Yost went around and told everybody else in the Big Ten, if you schedule Notre Dame, you're not going to be in the Big Ten. You are not allowed to play them. Okay? Not only are they not joining our conference, he held it against all the other teams to not schedule Notre Dame so that it screwed Notre Dame. Okay? So you got to kind of be mad at your own dude there. And then on the other part of it is, here's what I need to happen in your life, Seth. Here's what I need to happen. I need Tommy Rees in Alabama to shut this down. You don't get a championship. Then Harbaugh wants to get away from the NCAA stuff. He takes the Bears job, the Vegas job, does something, and he leaves. Then you hire Sharon Moore, and it's not a big deal. You could hire him. He's probably, at least he's from Earth in a way that Harbaugh's not. He's not an alien. Sharon Moore's not an alien. So you'll probably hire him. And then I need the NCAA to come smash down on you and take all these cheating wins away. And then you guys have to kind of rebuild, and it all just falls down. So right now, enjoy it. Right now, enjoy it. But I need this all to come crashing down on you. I just do. $5 holler from my man out here. Excited for the bowl. Might make the trip. See it live. There you go, man. That'd be fun. Couple more calls, 724, and then your 385 coming up. 724, give me some more. What's going on a Monday?
Hey, John. A lot is going on, mostly with Notre Dame.
Yeah, man. It's just, it's always something. It's always something.
One thing that became more evident to me, and it was became clear yesterday, we need to sever ties with the ACC. Because apparently even winning the conference doesn't do a thing for you.
Yeah. And there's a lot of sentiment with that, that they don't have any power. They're not power players. They think the new director of the conference is weak and not able to properly push for stuff. And I just I don't know where that leaves all of this, but the ACC ain't the answer, man. People, they're struggling and they don't seem to have the cachet or power right now. They're playing from what looks like a weak hand.
Yeah, and I mean, if winning the conference doesn't do it for you, what do our 4 or 5 wins against them a year look like? If say we were to go undefeated, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's not only winning it; it's being undefeated and winning it. You could win a conference and have a couple losses if you're in an iffy, but if doing it undefeated, that's tough. That is tough.
Yeah. So I just, it would reflect poorly on us to go 12-0. I mean, they're going to look at the games we play in the ACC and go, well, I mean, you beat Louisville and Duke. I understand those are outliers this year, but most years they're Louisville and Duke.
Yeah.
And, the other thing, I kind of got a gripe at some Notre Dame fans or with some Notre Dame fans about they're all upset about the wide receiver coach hiring, right?
Yeah.
And I get Freeman is hiring, 2 of his friends now have been on staff. And there is a trend there. But, it makes me think to the quote from Tommy Boy, you can either trust the butcher or stick your head up the cows, to find out the meat's good.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is Marcus Freeman just doesn't have a lot of extra credibility and cachet built up right now. And so then when you're in that situation, everything you do is going to be wait and see met with negativity, hope that it ends up better than that, but we're nervous about it. And you don't have a proven track record of all this. So we're going to be wait and see and kind of negative. Like that's just where we're at. That's just where we're at. He can win his way out of it. He can win his way out of it. And this guy can recruit and develop his way out of it. But as we sit now heading through this offseason, there is doubt. And he doesn't have a lot of proven cachet that we're going to trust it. And I think that's fair. But I'm not going to mark down a bunch of losses on next year's schedule that aren't there in reality yet because of it either.
And one of your callers made a good point. If he goes out and gets a strength coach that was also at Cincinnati, then, that's going to set some alarms off for me personally. Okay, so now you're proving to me that you might not have any real relationships outside of Cincinnati in the coaching world, that you can't go to like a Washington, hey, who's one of your best GAs? I need him for this or something like that, Yeah,
man. And the other thing is they want a wide receiver hire that looks totally different than what we've seen. It's something creative. Go somewhere where they actually have an exciting passing offense that stresses people and go buy that guy out and make it. But Notre Dame never seems to do that because when you want them to do that, then they go, well, we don't have the personnel for that. We can't run stuff that creative. That's always what I hear whenever anybody suggests like a innovator or a guy with like creative ways to do all, and it's like, well, we don't have the guys that can run that. Like, what do you think this is? We got to pare it down. We can't run that. You always then end up in a box where you're doing the same type of stuff. And it's like, well, we can't change because we can't run that. But what you're running now doesn't win either. So why are you sticking with it?
No, I agree. And I want to get your opinion on this. So, we let Stuckey go, and then the wide receiver room implodes. What do you make of that?
I think that there's just multiple issues going on behind the scenes on the offensive side of the ball and some discontent with multiple parts of it. And it depends who you talk to on all the rumors. I'm seeing some today that came out too, and I'll have to look into them. I just think there's discontent on the offensive side of the ball and what we're trying to do and who's doing it. And that breeds problems.
And I kind of agree with you, but I'm going to just give you a little bit of pushback. Outside of Tyree, how many guys did we lose that were, upperclassmen, right? And I feel like I kind of have a good vibe on what these 18 to 20-year-olds want. And they just, and even really the upperclassmen now, I just saw. Well, they want the attention of being recruited. They love it. They feed on it. They get their Instagram posts and their pictures taken and all that. You don't have that stuff when you're a freshman in camp. That doesn't exist unless you're, a stud, a 5-star that's going into start at Alabama week 1.
Yeah.
And I think kids are craving on that now. I just saw the Oklahoma quarterback, Gabriel, entered the transfer portal. You're a starter. You just won the biggest game of your year against Texas. They won that game. Why are you entering the transfer portal?
Yeah. I think, and the other thing is, man, a lot of these guys they're hopping for a better NIL deal and they just shop it around and then find one. I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel like college football the way it did.
No, it doesn't. It's turning into a watered down NFL.
Yeah. I just think, I don't know, man. Notre Dame's got to find its footing in the new reality here. It feels like we're kind of in the middle of trying to do things our way, the old way and all that, but trying to get modern. Like Notre Dame's got to find a stable footing here that from which to operate where I don't know, man. The operation just feels a little loose right now. Does it not? Not stable. It just feels a little loose. And that gives me anxiety every waking moment. Because I just feel like we're just a little loose. It's not like a tight operation right now, and it drives me nuts.
I look around, and I don't see, outside of the 4 or 5 teams in the country, who really does have a tight operation right now when I look at it. And, I agree with you that maybe Notre Dame does still try to do stuff the old way. But, the NIL has been around for, 2 years now? So everybody's kind of in a new era and trying to figure out how to navigate those waters. And I think, you get into his third year, your caller was right. It's moving day. Let's see what we get in this third year. And then you get through next year, depending on how it goes, then you maybe start asking some appropriate questions. I still think we're just a little bit too early. We got a first-time head coach in this new college football world that we live in. Give it time. Not to go back to, if I'm a kid looking at, going to Notre Dame, right? And I see, well, if I transfer out, I'm going to get backlash on all my social media from all their fans. We all need to calm down and just be supportive. This is a 19-year-old kid. He's trying to figure out what to do with his life. And I feel some people forget what that's like. That's a very tough time.
Well, you know what it is, man. It's all these internet people and it's anonymous. So you say whatever you want. There were Notre Dame fans tweeting at the guys that are leaving and transferring. It's like, dude, you're like 38 and you're tweeting to an 18-year-old, like running your mouth. Like, dude, everybody needs to back up. Like, be as mad as you want, but leave the kids alone, man. Leave them alone.
Yeah, don't become that toxic fan base. That's the worst thing that can happen to the program. Yeah. It's becoming a toxic fan base. It scares people away.
Dude, you know what would solve all this social media problems is if everybody had to be themselves. That would eliminate all this bullshit and all this stuff that goes on online and everything. If you made people say, I'm John Kennedy and this is me and I am the one saying this, it would eliminate all these problems because nobody would be taking the liberties they do when they think it's anonymous. There's a lot of that goes on.
Yep. But I got to go, John. I'm at work. I'm getting a phone
call I heard that, man. Tell the boss to hold. See ya. Thank you. Have a good one. That's funny. I want him to tell his boss, hold on, I'm yelling about football. I'm talking about football. Dude, you know how it is, man. There's all those dummy accounts on Twitter, ND fan 74325, and they're like messaging the guys, you're such a bitch for leaving and all this stuff. It's like, come on, man. It's like, come on. Oh, man. Yeah, he did. He did have a good laugh on that one. I hope it carried into his call. Oh, 385, make it come alive on a Monday. Are you going to go to the bowl game, buddy?
Hey, John.
Hey, you're out west. You going to go to the bowl game?
Yeah. I think I'm going to head out there, man. I'm excited for it. And like I said, not the one we wanted, man, or the season or the record, but I think I'm going to, man. Like, who knows? You know, your last caller's right. You have a, like I tell you, when I went with my friends to the Wake Forest game, it was a bucket list trip for her dad. 3 days later, his wife dies. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to go, man. You know what I mean? You never know what's in store or when the good Lord's going to call you back home. So
hey, man, here's how I look at it for you. Here's how I look at it for you, man. You're out in that part of the country. You love Notre Dame. It's an opportunity to go see the Irish without flying or driving halfway across the country, man. I say take advantage of it.
Yeah, I am, buddy. I am. Like I said, I'll get my tickets this Friday and book everything, and that'll be a good way to ring in the new year.
There you go,
man. They come
get that damn 10th win. Get that damn 10th win. The game itself isn't going to excite anybody. Like, whatever. We all know that. Get your damn 10 wins. Get in the clubhouse. Regroup. And then at least we're going into the offseason on 10 wins. And that's the best you could do. So go in there, put a good plan together, win the damn game.
Oh, agreed. 100. Hey, one thing that I was thinking about, John, as I seen Alabama beat, Georgia, they snapped that winning streak. And I'm thinking, I remember being in Las Vegas last October when they played BYU, and I met some fans there, and I was hyped, right? It was the first time I got to see the Irish football team play live.
Yeah. And that was a cool environment. That was a good environment, too.
Yeah, it was great. And I'm yelling. I'm like, there you go, Tommy Rees. Because I've always been a Tommy Rees fan. I think, I've loved Tommy Rees, man. I mean, I know I'll get backlash for that, but I started thinking, like, did we not think? I know a lot of fan base hated Tommy and his play calling. But I'm thinking, wow, if Nick Saban's coming out to get him, that should say something, right?
Yeah.
That should have said something, right? Right there and then. Because I know SC fans hated Lane Kiffin, but Saban gave him a chance, and look, he's doing great now. Same with Sarkisian, and look at this now. And it's like, what does that say about maybe sometimes we're too quick to jump the gun, as fans, maybe?
Here's the thing,
because I didn't think about it until go ahead.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Tommy Rees was not going to stay at Notre Dame any more than maybe one more year than he did as the OC. Like, he wanted to be the head guy, and that didn't work out. He was only going to stay till the next move. Like, Tommy Rees was never going to be a long-term OC option for Marcus Freeman. He wasn't. Tommy has his eyes on being Notre Dame's head coach at some point. That is his goal. He was never going to be a long-term OC for multiple years under Freeman. It wasn't in the cards just because of the dynamics. And so good move by him to get out of here. But he has real visions of maybe being Notre Dame's head coach when the time is right. That's where his mind is. But he wasn't going to be a long-term OC option here.
No, and that's understandable. You know what I mean? That makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? And hey, bro, like I said, I don't know who I hate more, Alabama or Michigan. Michigan, I really just have a dislike for it, other than I got a good buddy that's a huge Michigan fan. Alabama, I feel like I've been vocal about this. I've always thought that the SEC is overrated, and there's 2 junior high teams that they play every year, especially during rivalry week.
Yeah.
So like that, none of their big guys get injured. But I hope Tommy does good. One thing that I was kind of like panicking about the whole trans thing. I'm really heartbroken about Rico and Tyree. Yeah. I really am. Holden Stays too. I thought really picked it up when Mitchell Evans went down, man. And so, but I mean, only other people know what's going on behind the scenes, you know. But I want to know, what's your take? What do you think? Where do you think we sit, especially in this bowl game?
Man, I think two things. Number one is it's a very, very winnable matchup in this bowl game for Notre Dame, and that should be good. The downside of that is there's a lot of pressure now because you cannot lose. You got all this smoke, and the fans aren't already happy. Try losing to a team with no coach, no quarterback, no nothing. Like, it puts you in a corner where you got to win this game or it's a really, really bad look. You got to win it.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're 100% right. They got no conference, no coach, no quarterback. Oh, wow. Yeah, we got no reason to lose.
Yeah.
To lose, man. God, you hit that right on the head. You know, but yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I get, like I told you when I first found the show, I get heartbroken to see any of the boys leave, especially when I rooted for them, when they've you know, made the fan base, when they went out there in the blue and gold and they've just made terrific catches and terrific plays. Rico and, like I said, Tyree really, really caught me off guard and break my heart. But best luck to them. Best luck to them, man. Autry Denson said it best. You spent as a player, you want to hurry up and graduate, get your degree from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But then you spend the rest of your life trying to get back to Notre Dame. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
special place, man.
That's a good way to put it, man. That's a really good way to put it. So I don't know, but I want you to go to the game, man. I love your energy, and Notre Dame football could use your energy in the building, and you could give us a live report, baby. Give us a live report. Let us know the tailgate energy.
Always, man. Always Irish. Onward, Notre Dame, buddy. To the rest of the fan base, and you have a great week, man. Stay safe out there. You know what I mean, John? And we'll talk to you later, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good week, man. A good start to the Monday. Dude, his energy, he's always up. Like, that dude, even when he's sad, he's like up about the delivery. There's something about him I like. Let's see. Couple chats. 720, I'm coming to you next. You're going to be next up here. Where was it? There was something else I highlighted. I forget where it is. I'll have to go back and find it. 720, what do you know? Happy Monday.
I don't know anything, John. How are you
I don't. At least we admit it, right?
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on in football, man. A lot going on with Notre Dame and a lot going on nationally. And it's just like, it's just kind of news galore. And you're trying to figure out where the hell we fit into all of it, man. Where are you at today on a Monday?
I'm working. We just had our state championships here in Colorado. Went okay. Didn't go how we wanted it, but went okay. Jumping in today, seeing the kid from Ohio State jump in the transfer portal. What do you think on that? Is that just the toxic fans running that kid off? Because, like, in a way, you got to feel bad for him. Like, and you're the quarterback at Ohio State.
There's a couple theories. Number one is maybe Kyle McCord's like, I don't need to take all this shit of everybody blaming me for letting the whole country down, losing to Michigan and all. Like, maybe I just don't feel like I want to be a part of that. The other part is maybe he isn't thrilled with Ryan Day and the way things are going and wanted to get out of there. But here's the other angle, though, man. Flip this over. What if Ryan Day's the one behind this, who went to him and go, you didn't get it done. You're not good enough. You might want to go elsewhere. I'm open to I don't know if that's in play or not, but there could be a whole other side to that coin where Ryan Day is the one being like, you ain't good enough to be our dude. You're not going to start. You might want to figure some shit out. I don't know, man. I don't know.
You know, John, I look at college football, and I played at a small school, Division II, and I feel like, man, this isn't even the same sport. It's like we're not teaching any of these kids.
It's hard, isn't it, man? It doesn't feel it. It really doesn't feel the same at all, and like they're trying to call it the same sport, we know, but all of the mechanics and how it operates are taking that out in reality. I don't know, man.
I have no problem with the kid, like, maybe transferring once, right, for the right reasons. Maybe you want to be closer to home, or, I mean, it seems like it's like kids are like, oh, I don't start right away, boom, F you, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not, what lessons are we teaching here with these kids?
And then the shopping, man, the shopping. You have the agents quietly behind the scenes shopping all this stuff out. And then you go wherever you get the best leverage deal. And then if you have any extra years, then the next year you do it again and make the same group pony up more, or you go for a better one. That's just straight up 1 year free agency pay for play. Like, that's not, I didn't think that's what we wanted to do, but that's kind of what it feels like. And I'm not saying Notre Dame's not a part of it. I'm not saying Notre Dame's not a part of it, but that doesn't mean I got to say I like it and it feels right to me.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. I thought the NIL rule, I thought it was the school had to be making money directly from that person, whether it was like a video game or like jersey sales. And now it's just like, oh, here's $1 million, come to our school and play.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess I'm confused on the rules.
Dude, it could be the simplest thing. Like, for instance, Sam Hartman, we're giving you over $1 million to come here for 1 year and win the big games that we haven't been able to win and lead us to the playoff. We're going to give you $1 million. And for that, here's what you need to do. 2 times this semester, show up at the South Bend YMCA, take some pictures helping the kids out, and then we all keep it moving. It could be that simple, man. And then it's not pay. Then it's not pay for play. There's obligations, and where you're like, it could be that easy.
Yeah. You know, the other thing is, and I'm not, obviously, you know, Bama's probably a way better team than Florida State right now. Most likely. However, that's complete bullshit that Florida State can go undefeated and not make the college championship. Clemson came from the ACC. They're the only other team from a different conference, the ACC, that has 2 national champs, Clemson. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like, well, we already know the Big 12 champ is better than the SEC champ. So, because I look at it like this: if Notre Dame was 12-0, we'd be getting dusted too.
Yeah,
and that pisses me off.
Man, I don't know what you do. I feel horrible for Florida State. This was really bad circumstances. I feel terrible about it. They probably deserved and earned their way in. However, there's no chance on earth I'm picking them to beat Alabama on a neutral field as currently constituted. Absolutely not. There is no way I'm going to think that Florida State could give Michigan a better game than Alabama. No, 0%. I understand both sides of it. It's very, very hard. I totally understand both ways of thinking. Good thing you're going to 12 teams, I guess. It doesn't help Florida State this year, but from now on, I'm not going to feel bad for number 13 that gets left out with 3 losses the way I am. Right. So at least your margin for error and the net you're casting is going to be a lot bigger. Knocked over my mic. Yeah. It's going to be a lot bigger moving on.
That feels like the old BCS model. Remember, we'd get two 12-1 teams and one or 2 11-1 teams and one 12-0 team, and we'd have to pick.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's tough. And they did, and it was Norvell or the AD. One of them put out a statement. I think it was Norvell saying, and I really liked this. He was saying, "What message are you sending these players? Is it that if your best player gets hurt, you should just quit and fold and you have no chance and your season's over? So just opt out and don't even play. It doesn't matter what you do." Like, I totally get that the way this went is against the narrative you teach every kid and growing up and competing in team sports and all of that. Like, this flies in the face of all those lessons that you're supposed to teach. I'm telling you, the SEC, man, they walk in there swinging their thing and throwing it on the table and going, here's what we're going to do. It's hard not to feel like that's how it happened.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly how it happened. I mean, really, and you look at it, I believe I believe Florida State beat LSU about the same as Bama did, so actually they beat them worse, and they beat them by a few more points. And I know that quarterback was there, but I'm like, hey, like there's a lot of arguments you could say, and I don't know. I'm with you on Norvell, and no, I don't think Georgia is gonna, or Bama, Florida State's gonna beat Bama. In fact, I don't know if Michigan's gonna beat Bama. I think Bama might beat Michigan by 2 or 3 touchdowns.
I don't know, man. But I just know that is think about it. Even if Florida State had their quarterback, the original good quarterback, they would be entering this environment. It would be new for these people, new for the coaching staff. How do you prep for a game like this with all the time appropriately, physically and emotionally and mentally? There's a lot that goes into playoff game prep. And even if Florida State was flying high with that guy healthy, I trust Saban because he knows exactly how to dial it in, get these guys ready, and then know everything you're going to do after looking at your film for a month. Like, the whole operation is different. Did you see when they announced the bowl game, how Michigan reacted? Did you see that? They were like in that room going, ooh, like they were going, ooh, because they all had that Florida State matchup in mind too. It's going to be a little trickier now. It's going to be trickier now.
It wasn't, if I'm coaching them, that's not the reaction I wanted from them.
Yeah.
That was more of a, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah,
we gotta
exactly.
Get it going.
Yeah. I think that too. But you know what though? I got to give Michigan credit. I do not like them at all. I hate everything about them, but the vibe with their team this year has been exemplary. I love it. They rally together. They're all in us against everybody. Like, if I loved them, I'd love this whole vibe and everything they've had going this year. It's just, I hate them, so I can't give them any credit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And that was, it's good. I just don't know. I think Bama just has a little too much speed for Michigan. Michigan's a classic Big Ten team.
Yeah,
run it down your throat. I don't think they have the horses on defense or offense to keep with Bama. So
yeah,
I mean, they're
going to
be
really interesting. I want to see that spread.
Yeah.
When do they come up with the spread? I want to see where that starts. Yeah. Just, it's very curious to me. I'd like to see that.
I am a degenerate gambler.
Well, at least you know it. At least you know it. At least you know it and admit it. That's the first key, buddy. At least you admit it. I like it. Very self-aware. Very self-aware.
I only go like $100, maybe a weekend. But the last thing I think Marcus Freeman's doing a pretty fantastic job. Even with this, like,
oh, that's not going to be a popular opinion. You're going to get the chatters. They're going to get on you. You better defend it. You better defend your position because they're going to come for you.
Okay, well let's break it down. Did Brian Kelly win 9 games in his first 2 seasons? Did Lou Holtz win 9 games in his first 2 seasons?
Let me play both sides of this. Somebody put that in the chat earlier. It may have actually been Pat about look at the beginning records there with Kelly. If I wanted to play the devil's advocate and reverse this on you, I would say, yes, Kelly had some rough years. However, what he inherited was a program in way worse shape than what Freeman inherited. And there was a lot more to build up as far as infrastructure, talent, and all that. So that would be the pushback is Kelly was starting from a worse spot. Okay, it wasn't Pat. I forget who else said it. But that he was digging out of a worse spot than Freeman is. So that would be the argument of they're not on equal footing to compare those first couple of years. What would you respond to that?
Well, I would agree that, yeah, I mean, obviously Notre Dame didn't have any talent when Kelly came. However, I think Notre Dame had been on a plateau with Brian Kelly for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and you could feel it.
And
it was so frustrating, man. You could feel it inside yourself. And you know what else? You could feel that you knew Kelly knew it too. You could feel, I felt like Kelly knew it too. And it was just a matter, how are we getting out of this marriage with the least amount of collateral damage? That was a very tough
Right.
feeling to feel. It was a glass ceiling, man. It didn't matter how good the regular season was going, whatever. You knew there was that blocker there we were never getting past. It was so frustrating. So frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think almost sometimes that could be worse. I mean, Kelly was like, hey, I make it to the playoffs. It doesn't matter what the score is. And I think sometimes that can be harder than breaking or building up an entire new culture of winning, because guys are going to be like, hey, well, we're winning 10, 11 games. So that's good enough, you know? So I think that's tough. And then there was this, like, you could feel it every big game we had. Did you, like, was it 17 or 16 when Georgia came to town? I knew we weren't going to win that game. You know, like, I knew in my heart, I was like, it will be okay. It'll be close, but it won't win.
Yeah.
This year against Ohio State, I was like, we got a chance. I'm not betting on it because that would just make my emotions that much worse. but I really felt like we had that chance. And really, if the kid doesn't drop the interception, we win. So I think, and the other thing is, the cupboard was left empty at quarterback and wide receiver, and that is something Marcus Freeman is having to rebuild is the quarterback play and the reputation. We haven't got a first-round quarterback drafted since.
Man, here's the thing. Here's where this gets really, really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. I think it was either the last caller or the one before that. I'm forgetting already. Brought up, if you want to look at the hot seat and the tension there with the fans and year 3 and it needing to be a big year or whatever, the issue is the following year is the year you get into the what's considered to be premium, ultra talented quarterbacks, because then you would have Carr coming off a red shirt, and then you would have Deuce coming in with all the raw athletic ability you could ever ask for a Notre Dame quarterback. Very raw, but a lot of athletic ability. That's the tricky part. Everybody wants a big thing out of this year 3. That following year is the one where you get serious about having real elite talent potential quarterbacks in the building. Yeah. But you got to build a bridge to get to that year that doesn't piss everybody off.
Yeah, and honestly, I would love Riley Leonard here.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect gap year quarterback.
Yeah.
And then you can roll with Carr and then that Deuce Knight kid. But I think Riley Leonard, and I'd like to see Blake Fisher stay. There's no reason for him to declare. Here, I'm gonna break.
I think he's gone. I think everybody's saying he's going. Everybody's saying that he's gonna go. I don't know.
God, it's like, dude, stay and make the money. However, I'm not as worried about the O-line room. That's super depth. But like Zeke Corral transferring, I'm not that sad about it. It's like, dude, you're 4th-year center. You're not ready for the NFL. No other place is going to get you higher. So they must have saw something with the younger talent where they're like, so I think Zeke, honestly, if you're a 4th-year center, you probably should be wanting to declare for the NFL draft, not transferring.
Yeah. But man, dude, but think about it though. Everybody wants a big year 3 and how important it all is. And it's like, well, you don't have either tackle. It's like, well, we're getting you lost both your tackles and all your wide receivers, and then you have a new quarterback. You got to make it work. Like, for a year where a lot of fans are putting a lot of pressure on Freeman to deliver, you have a lot of instability that needs to be worked out. It isn't like this is rounding into form where you have these pieces in a line. That's rough, man. Yeah. Everybody expects a lot in that year, but there's a lot of moving parts that have to come together, man. It's just a lot of instability. Well, this is always Notre Dame's life, man. It just never seems to all just line up.
And what sucks is we also, I do believe that Jagasaw kid, I think Charles,
he's going to be good. He's going to be good.
He's going to be a stud. And there are some studs in that room right now. Blake Fisher, though, it's like, man, if you stay one more year, improve your game.
Yeah.
You're a first round. And now you're making, way more money.
Yeah.
And we're going to probably end up being a journeyman tackle. Like
Yeah.
It's your poison. I don't know if I can sit down and,
yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. And I don't know all the stuff that goes on with those decisions behind the scenes and all that. Do you have any questions on Notre Dame's bowl game? I think it's a favorable matchup, although I do think there is pressure on Notre Dame's end because of you want to say Notre Dame's in a rough spot, though. They don't even have a conference to call home and everybody left the team, the quarterback, the coach. Like, you think we have it rough. You better win this one, damn it, or it's going to be an awful look. So the matchup is favorable to me. However, the pressure is high because you can't lose this one and then tell people you're coming together over the offseason. That ain't going to fly. So you better win it, get your 10, and keep it moving.
Yeah. No, John, no other questions. I appreciate you very much, and appreciate this.
I appreciate you very much.
Great caller.
I appreciate you very much. We don't have this. None of this exists without all you guys wanting to be a part of it.
The last guy, man, I love when he calls in too, man. He's got great energy.
It's the energy. Even when he's like mad and sad, there's like this energy to his delivery that's always like keeps me engaged and like upbeat. Even when it's like something bad, he has this vibe that I just like the dude, man. I want to go hit the town with that guy.
Yeah. I think that'd be trouble, John. I think you'd probably be in about 3 or 4 bar fights.
I know. I got a feeling. I think he and I would lead each other into trouble. There's just something there. But I like that energy, man. That's a kindred Notre Dame spirit that I appreciate.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, you have a great day, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Oh, you too, man. You too. Hey, take care now. And call me before Christmas. You don't got to wait. Damn. Andrew Gilmore with nice callers today. Everybody who's called today has been really just a good discussion, man. This is a beautiful thing. $5 holler from Happy's brother. John, I understand how Florida State fans feel, but I have no empathy. They never admit 93 was a screw job against ND. ND has literally never been the same. Andrew Gilmore, I love you for this. What did I record? Oh, I think I put that on Patreon yesterday. I did a release video on Patreon of the playoff field. And I started it by saying, I totally understand why Florida State people are so upset and all this. And then 2 seconds later, I just went, but after 93, F them. Sorry, you got away with one. Now you're getting one taken from you. I guess it just took 30 years to come around. And the other thing that amazes me about that is there is such a large percentage of younger Notre Dame fans that probably don't even realize that 93 deal, what happened. I'm getting to that age. I'm almost pushing 40. We're getting into that line where these younger Notre Dame fans in their 20s have no idea that we beat Florida State head-to-head and they gave Florida State the championship. So anyways, that's what I think about that. So, I mean, I get it. They did all you could ask them to do. Yeah, listen, this is ending. We're going to the 12th teamer. But let me ask this. How did you think this was going to go when you have 5 apparently equally looked at and respected Power 5 conferences, and you have 4 spots? Like right away, this all put everybody in a weird spot right away by being like, oh, we have 5 Power 5 conferences, and the idea is to win one and whatever. But you have 4. You set yourself up to end up in one of these messed up, complicated, sticky situations. And now you're in it on the last year. Like, if you could add it all line up to make easy choices one more year, we could have all avoided this. Luke, what are you talking about, Luke? Do you believe Freeman could be in the top 12 at the end of any given season? He needs to be in it every season, Luke. And I think that's probably where you're going here. 10-2 gets Notre Dame in this playoff every damn year, I think. You got 10-2's that's a run-of-the-mill year for Notre Dame. That ain't no great year. I need you to go 10-2 and be in it every year. Kidding me? 10-2. You don't even, you can lose your two biggest games in a year and make the playoff. You can't do that. We got the wrong guy. You got the wrong guy. I can't handle that. You guys, I can't handle this. When we get into the 12-teamer and 10-2 is good enough to get you in, you got to go. That needs to be at every damn year. You're not allowed to miss this play. That is the new standard. That is the new standard. I get it. You're not going to be in the top 4. That means you have to have one loss or no losses every year. I totally understand that. This 12-teamer means Notre Dame could lose 2 big games and still be in every year. That needs to be the bar. Or maybe in a 5-year span, you're out. You have 1 year where you're out of it. Like, no. You can lose your 2 toughest games of the year and still make the playoff field as Notre Dame. Is that not a low enough bar? Is that not a low enough bar? Pat, what are you talking about? Are you talking? Pat's over here talking about Joey the Clown Lombardo. What are you talking about, Pat? He's talking about Joey the Clown Lombardo. He's talking about our linebacker saying that his people in Chicago are going to get you, Pat, the family secrets. I love it. If you know what that, it's all the Chicago mob stuff. That's what we're talking about. I don't know how it came up. But you guys, like, I'm really saying 10, you need to be 10-2 and in that field every single year. And if you have a really great year and you're 11-1 or better than that, or run it, go on to be fine. But if I'm in a situation where we can lose our 2 biggest games of the year and be in it, I don't have a reason you're not in it every year. That needs to be the expectation. Who said that? Have to have 2 wins against top 15 teams? That's not no requirement to be in the expanded playoff. And if it is, I missed that memo. So I don't know. Somebody said if it went to 16, we could get in every other year. You guys are miserable, man. You guys are miserable. But the interesting thing is you're going to be able to have more leeway. Think about our lives as Notre Dame fans, you guys. If you win one game, you're like, oh man, we're probably not making our goal this year. And if you lose 2, the whole thing's ruined kind of as far as your dreams. Think about how much longer fans of all these teams are going to be able to buy into all their teams when you could probably have 2 losses and make the playoff. So I don't know. I don't know. Andrew, I wanted to highlight this. This is the truest shit that's ever been typed on these airwaves. Kelly's game plan against Bama in 20 was to waste the clock so he wouldn't lose by 40. That is 100% accurate. And right after the game, I came in here in the post-game show and I said, this is embarrassing. We did not even try to win. Kelly literally tried to just lose by the least amount possible. He did not even try and put a game plan in to give us a chance to win. He literally just wanted to not lose by a lot. It was the most cowardice thing. Didn't even go down guns blazing. Just like literally went in there trying to lose, not by a lot. I hated it. I hated it. Oh, man. Adam says, tone down your expectations, John. Dude, if you can't go 10-2, I can't help you, man. Like, I guess I don't know what to tell you. Join Conference USA or something, bro. If you cannot go 10-2 with Notre Dame's baseline level of talent, then I can't help you. But you got to be in that playoff. And when we're starting it next year, I really need you to be in the mix. Start it. You get what I'm saying? Like, if we're getting in here and we're doing a new thing and we're having a new routine and this is the first year we're trying out something, I want us to be a damn part of it. I don't know why that matters to me, but if we're doing this new thing and it's the first year, I want Notre Dame in the mix. Right away, I want this new format to have Notre Dame linked to it, being a part of it. $2 holler from ND8. John, can we win with Parker? I say no. He needs to get better at his job quickly. He needs to get more creative very quickly. And he needs to get some vision very quickly. The man, he's got to get a lot better at his job real freaking quick. Real quick. $5 holler from Mark 1. Bottom line, NDS talent. Go back to the basics and start winning. It sounds so easy, doesn't it? It sounds so easy on paper. All right, everybody. That's going to be it. Let's wrap it up. We had a good, well-rounded bank of calls today, all over the board. Everybody was nice and had really good points. Adam, every time I say something to Adam that he doesn't agree with or whatever, he'll text me back 39 points, John, shut up. It cracks me up. Anything we're talking about, Adam will just text me 39 points, John. It's all good. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Pat says he didn't like reading about Giancana. He was an a-hole. Yeah, and then you know what else? He had that time where he skipped the country and ran away and then tried to, against the mob thing, jumped the country and went to hide, and then he showed back up, and then he still thought he was going to be the boss. Whatever. I love that old mob stuff. All right, you guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to record a video that'll go out tomorrow morning, kind of lining up exactly where we're at. Thursday's video is probably going to piss people off. I'm going to do one tomorrow about what we have coming in the immediate situation. But then the one Thursday, nobody's going to be in the mood for, which is why I got to do it. So stay tuned for that. Patreon, we got a bunch of stuff coming up. We got more interviews, breaking down the bowl game, breaking down the portal stuff, the wide receiver coach. We're going to do all of it. So be sure to be there as well. Thank you to everybody that's joined. Everybody that commented, thank you. Everybody that donated, double thank you. The callers, everybody, all the regulars, love you guys. So we'll see you there.